Hey guys, Zach here, coming at you with another video. So today's video is going to be a very interesting discussion kind of video. This is a video response actually to my friend Dr. Virtual. I've known him for a long time, like ever since the beginning of my YouTube career, back in like 2012, 2013. I met him, super cool guy. Definitely go and check out his channel. He talks about a lot of different gaming content, news and debates and that kind of stuff. I want to respond to his video kind of debating if retro gaming is better than modern gaming or vice versa. So, without any further ado, guys, let's get started.
ZakPak, he's always there for you. ZakPak, only on YouTube. ZakPak, what will he do next? ZakPak, let's find out, 'cause it's on with the show.
Keep in mind, this is all also coming from personal experience and my personal opinion and what I personally believe from what I've played. Obviously, I have games of all different types. I am mostly a retro game collector, but I have, obviously GameCube's pretty retro, 3DS kind of modern, Switch is modern, Xbox 360, Xbox One, Wii U, so I have a bunch of modern games as well, so don't say I'm biased and I'm always going to be in favor of retro games. In fact, I mostly didn't grow up with retro games per se. Like, I didn't grow up with an NES or a Super Nintendo or a Sega Genesis or anything like that. I've played them when I was a kid, yes, but I didn't grow up with them. I grew up on the GameCube generation, which was the modern generation at the time. So, granted, it's retro now, but nevertheless, I'm not really I'm nostalgic towards the GameCube, but not really anything before that, besides the N64. But nevertheless, I do think that modern gaming has definitely soured me a bit, because, first of all, one problem I have with modern gaming is that consoles are just way too expensive. Like, if I want to have, Nintendo is usually always a good secondary system to people, and usually Xbox and PlayStation are the main ones. If the Xbox One Scarlet, or the Xbox Scarlet, the PS5 is launching, and someone wants to switch, that's $800 they'd have to dish out. $800, and you don't even get any games out of it. Just $800. That's how much it costs for two game systems. Absolutely crazy. Now, I know it wasn't cheap in the past, but it wouldn't cost you $800 for two systems. And nowadays, games are $60, which really isn't a bad thing, because obviously, as games evolve, prices of games go up. It's a natural thing. But when you have games that lack in content and have this thing called DLC, it really makes it hard to, really get into modern games if you really don't feel like you're getting the full package. And there's multiple different kinds of DLC, so let me just cover it. There is DLC that I don't mind, and that's just regular additional content DLC. So you get a full game, and they're like, you know what, this game's really popular. Let's give them extra DLC that's added content. So like an extra little story mode, a short little additional story mode, $20, you guys can buy it if you want. That kind of stuff, completely okay with, as long as the actual game is like a full game. You can tell that they put a lot of effort into it, and it's a full $60 game. The kind of DLC I am not into is when they completely shell out an incomplete game and then give you DLC. Whether it's free or not, I'm going to make that specification right now, because Nintendo do this thing where they give out free DLC. But that's just their way of making sure you come back to the game. They'll give out a completely incomplete experience, like Splatoon or Mario Tennis Aces, and then they'll entice you to come back with free DLC, which is really just completing the game that they did not complete before they released it. Like, let's start with Splatoon, right? I think there were 4 or 6 maps when the game launched. I think both the first game and the second game had this issue. That's pathetic. I am sorry. $60 for a game that is not complete. For $60, I should be able to play the game and get the full experience. I shouldn't have to wait to get free additional content. The Octo expansion is a great thing. That's a good DLC, because it's extra story. The game at that point is complete. It's good. But the free updates where you get the maps, you finally get the maps that you should have had day one, you're basically buying a beta version of the game. Which sounds cool if you think about Luigi's Mansion Beta, but it's not when you talk about a game that's finished, it just doesn't have all of its content. Like, imagine buying Mario Party 6, or just a Mario Party game in general, and they said, okay, we're going to give you 4 of the boards now, and you'll get the other ones when the time comes around. Oh wait, Sound familiar? Super Mario Party, they didn't even give us the extra boards. They basically were like, okay, we're gonna give you like 2, 3, 4, like 3 less boards than you usually get. 2 or 3 less boards than you usually get. And we're not gonna give you more. And the boards are gonna be smaller, and they're gonna be worse, and they're gonna be more generic. Win, 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 right? There's just so much about modern gaming that just turns me away from it. And not just DLC, microtransactions. In my personal opinion, there's a difference between microtransactions and DLC. DLC is adding content to the game. It's in the name. Downloadable content. I don't view the microtransactions that are like skins or emotes or Fortnite dances. I don't consider that content. It's a cosmetic difference. It's a cosmetic change. Like, if in Mario Odyssey, if you had to buy those costumes using real money, that's a microtransaction. That's not DLC. DLC would be like, oh, a new level or a new world in Mario Odyssey. That's DLC. So, microtransactions, in my personal opinion, are the cancer of gaming. Now, few exceptions. I'll give Fortnite and other free-to-play games the exception. To an extent. I don't know that much about Fortnite. I really don't. I've played it maybe once or twice. I never got into it. But I do know it's completely optional to buy skins, buy dances. Now, you're usually peer pressured into buying skins, because if you have the base one, you're a noob, they see you as. But nevertheless, it's not going to enhance your stats. It's not going to do anything. But Mario Kart Tour, for instance, is different. Mario Kart Tour, characters give you perks. They give you perks on maps, give you perks on races. You get these gem things that get you pipe bursts, that can get you characters that also give you special perks. Also carts that give you special, also gliders that give you special perks. It's ridiculous. You're basically paying for advantages in a game. Mario Kart Tour is all about advantages. I still play Mario Kart Tour, but that's only because I've played it. I've only spent $5 on the game. I got the gold pass for 1 month, just so that I can redeem some of the stuff I've earned. So $5, I got like 100 gems, a bunch of tickets and stuff, and I have most of the characters. Like, I think the only ones I don't have that are like the common ones, I think I don't have Baby Luigi, no, I don't have regular Luigi, and I don't have, like a Toad of some sort. That's it. Like, I didn't spend any money. That's good. But when there's a game, like an option where it's like, oh, you can spend like $60 a year just so that you can basically win the game, that's a bit ridiculous. Now, that's not saying that retro gaming isn't without its faults as well. Let's talk about the retro gaming. Obviously, the games don't look good nowadays. The games, they don't age well. Some of them do, like Wind Waker, for instance. Wind Waker ages really, really well. Even to some extent, Luigi's Mansion ages really well. Not necessarily in the graphics and the textures, but just like the dusting effects, the lighting effects, the particle effects, that kind of stuff ages really well today. Especially given that Luigi's Mansion 3, well, it had the lighting effects, it didn't have the particle effects or the dust effects like Luigi's Mansion 1 had. It had some particle effects, but not to the extent that 1 did, so let's keep that in mind. And also, when it came to the single-player experiences, they were shorter. Usually most single-player games back in the day were 3, 4, 5 hours long. They were nowhere near as long as games today. Now, usually the exception were RPGs. RPGs were always long, no matter what system you played them on. But when it came to like platformers or puzzle games, you know, those kind of games, they're typically a lot shorter on older hardware, mostly because of limitations of the device. Like GameCube, for instance. GameCube had to be stored on these 1 gigabyte little small discs. You know, there weren't like, you know, especially nowadays, you know, when games are 100 gigabytes, they didn't have that. Memory cards were like blocks. Like, you know, that kind of thing. So, overall, yeah, games from the past were also a lot shorter. Also, usually with older games, the controls aren't that great as well. Now, I think the GameCube didn't really suffer from this much, but you look back at like the N64. I love the N64 as a console. It has great games, a great library for how small it is. In my opinion, Nintendo 64 is one of the best Nintendo consoles. Definitely in the top 5. But the controller is horrible. I hate the N64 controller. You know, things like that. And like, you know, when you look back, sure, the Super Nintendo controller is great. There's obviously a lot of limitations because of the time, because, you know, because of the fact that it was the 1990s. They didn't really have a joystick yet. So, well, I mean, there were joysticks on like the NES Advantage and the Atari. but like it wasn't like common to have thumbstick controllers for games. So as time went on, there were naturally advancements in that kind of thing. But like I said, this was mostly an issue with the N64, the PS1, that generation, where the controls were really, really wonky because it was the first move into 3D gaming. So it was mostly those consoles that kind of suffered from that. GameCube games, Xbox games, and PS2 games, and Dreamcast games also kind of suffered from that a little bit. And the Wii actually, even though I consider the Wii to be modern, the Wii did suffer a bit because of the fact that it was motion controls, and the motion controls were always kind of janky in games, or if you did play like on its side, it felt very uncomfortable. It's a very square nature of the Wiimote. So yeah, so gaming nowadays brilliantly controls. The Switch, there are so many different kinds of controls you could use for the Switch. The Xbox One has an elite controller that I've heard is great. I think the Xbox One controller is the best controller of the generation. Switch Pro controller being close second, and PS4 controller being third. Definitely a lot of advancements in the controls category. But yeah, retro gaming definitely doesn't have that aspect as well. Overall, though, even though retro gaming does have a lot of weaknesses, like the graphics not being great, like the controls not being amazing, it didn't take away from the fact that the older game consoles, like in my opinion, the GameCube and the N64, the PlayStation 2, they had such a great library of games that, in my opinion, are just personally unmatched today. I mean, Smash Bros. Melee, trust me, Ultimate is a great game, and I still think Ultimate is the best Smash Bros. Game. But everyone goes back to Super Smash Bros. Melee. Everyone goes back to it for tournaments and all that stuff. The GameCube and N64 Mario parties, those are the ones that everyone goes back to. So, retro gaming definitely has its place, and in my opinion, is better than modern gaming. Because you don't have to worry about microtransactions and spending money to get content. In my opinion, some of the games were just better. The Mario Sports games were better in the past. The Mario Party games were better in the past. The Smash Brothers games. There are so many games that were just overall objectively better in the past. So, and I know a lot of people are going to get at me for saying Melee is better than Ultimate, but I think in 20 years' time, when we look back, people are still playing Melee to this day. No one's really playing Brawl for tournaments. No one's playing the N64 one for tournaments. No one's playing the Wii U one for tournaments. It's Melee. And I think in 10 years, once Ultimate is an older game now, we'll see that more so. Like, people are like, oh, that's not fair, that's not right. Think about it. When Smash Bros. 4 came out, it was a huge deal. Everyone was so hyped about, Cloud coming and Ryu and so many third-party characters. It was the biggest Smash game ever. Yet Melee still reigned supreme. And that's how I think it'll go now. It's not going to change. Melee is still everyone's favorite Smash game. And you know what? Even though Ultimate's mine, I don't blame them for loving Melee as much as they do. So anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Let me know what you guys think. What's better, modern gaming or retro gaming? And I'll probably be able to tell your ages from the answers. So, until next time, guys, I'll see you in the next video.